Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to today's strategy session. Listen, I am your vision coach, LaToya Early, and I help coaches find or sharpen their message, get that out, narrow their niche, and create multiple streams of income through business growth and lifestyle development. It is time for our afternoon strategy session. It's time for me to share some good nuggets with you. It's time for me to share some information with you as it pertains to your coaching business. So you guys know the routine. Come on in, do me a favor, introduce yourself as a coach. Tell me what type of coach you are. Tell me what you do. Tell me who you serve. Listen, I want to know all your coaching business, okay? Like, I just want to know all your business. I'm intrigued about what you do and who you are. So make sure you jump in and share and introduce yourself. And make sure you tag another coach. Listen, the information that I share daily is for coaches. I want to help you build your coaching business better. I want to help you reach your ideal client. I want to help you close your ideal client. I want to help you grow your revenue, and I want to help you increase your results. So make sure you are tagging another coach. Make sure you're coming in and you're interacting with me. You're telling me who you are. You're telling me what you do, because I am super excited to learn more about you and how I, your vision coach, can assist you in building your coaching business. Cool? So I want to take this time, and I first want to ask anyone, everyone who's viewing me, everyone who's a part of this video, I want to know, what does your coaching business do for people? Okay, that's the first thing I want to do. I want to know, what does your coaching business do for people? Right? So if you can do me a favor, after you've introduced yourself in the comments, after you've told me and shared with me who you are, after you've tagged another coach, I want you to share with me what your coaching business do for other people, right? So of course there's a method behind my madness. Y'all know that I'm not going to just ask y'all a blanket question and not have some insight or some strategies to share with you behind it, right? So the reason why I want to know that is because I want you to keep that in mind. When we talk about niche marketing, remember, niche marketing is about scaling down your client pool and creating a specific focus, right? So we know that there are life coaches. We know that there are success coaches. We know that there are transformation coaches and mindset coaches. And of course, your vision coach. We know that there are all of these different type of coaches. But what I want you to do is, I want you to take a moment and I want you to write down all of the things you do to help people. What is it that you do? What is your special genius? What is your unique flavor that you bring when you are coaching, when you're meeting with your ideal client, when you're sharing framework and strategies? I want to know, what is it that you do? And then once you've sat down and you've identified all of the things that you do, I then want you to determine, or I want you to identify whether or not your niche is specific enough. Okay, I want you to figure out whether or not your niche is specific enough. Remember, because we're in an industry that has an unlimited amount of access, exposure, and revenue, you can make so much money, you can reach so many people, you can change so many different lives. We are growing rapidly, right? We are increasing, we are growing in numbers, and I love it, because that means that the more coaches that we have, the more people we can connect with and help them not only transform their lives, but transform the way that they think, transform their perspective. That's our responsibility as coaches, right? Our responsibility as coaches is to help transform the perspective of our clients. How do we do that? Through implementing our framework, our strategies. We're using life experiences. We're using additional training. We're using our certifications. Listen, if you're a coach, you're using some tips and strategies that your coach is teaching you. If you don't have a coach and you're a coach, listen, you need to get a coach. But that's not what we're talking about. I want to know, as a coach, what is it that you do that helps other people? Once you've written down your list of all of the things that you do to help other people, I want to know if your niche is specific enough. What do I mean by niche marketing? When I talk about niche marketing, I know that a lot of us are super external or surface when we think about niche marketing. We're like, hey, I help female Christians overcome their obstacles. I understand that, we go through that external we go through those external questions to make sure that we're speaking to our ideal client. But what I want to challenge you with doing is not only talking about the different behaviors, which means what your client is currently struggling with, but I want to talk about some internal things. This is where niche marketing comes into play. When you are specific and focused on a particular problem that you solve, not only understand that your services that you provide as a coach, which are your signature programs, your strategies, your framework, all of those things speak to the behavior, right? So if, say for instance, and I use this all the time with a finance coach, a money coach, a wealth coach, anybody that deals with money, the behaviors that your services is going to help them modify is lack of budgeting, lack of savings, lack of investing, right? Those are the different behaviors that they have. But when you are now being more focused on the specific problem that you're solving, what's causing this person to budget improperly, right? What's causing this person to not be able to invest? It's an internal thing. And so when you're a coach, you want to identify, what am I able to do in my client's life? What problems do I solve? Not just what behaviors I'm able to modify, but what are some things that's not only going to change their current, but it's going to transform their life, right? When we talk about niche marketing and you jump into the industry of entrepreneurship in general, you have to keep in mind that most times when you are introduced to any type of business, any type of entrepreneurship, we're taught those traditional marketing strategies and techniques, right? We're taught to create our avatar. We're taught to name our avatar. And listen, those are great strategies because those are stepping stones. That's actually something that I teach in one of my programs when we talk about introducing you into coaching. However, you have to get to a place in your coaching business where you're looking to dive deeper into your coaching business. Why? Because again, you can start with the external, but eventually you have to get into the internal. What do I mean by that? When you are taught traditional marketing and you're taught, those traditional ways to market, you're most of the time we're taught how to exchange product for profit. Right? Most times when I first started my business, especially when I first jumped into the industry of entrepreneurship in general, when I was exchanging product for profit, the way that I marketed to my ideal client at that time is not the same way that I can market to my ideal client with what I do now, right? So there's a difference between marketing to your ideal client when you're exchanging profit for product versus when you're exchanging profit for service, and then when you're exchanging profit for transformation, right? Those are three different marketing strategies. Three totally different approaches, three totally different ways for you to look at yourself and your coaching business and what it is you have to offer. Why do I know this? So I've marketed, this is bananas, because I share with you guys all the time that I've had 7 businesses before Chase Great. And so I've sold products and I've sold services. I was an event coordinator. I've sold products. I'm not going to tell y'all what kind of products I sold, but it was BC. It was before Christ. We're just going to leave that there. But I've sold products, and not illegal products either. But I've sold products, I've sold services. And so with going and jumping into coaching, when I was instructed to become a coach, then I had to exchange profit for transformation. Right? And so that's when the marketing got a little tricky for me, because the marketing changed. The way that I talk to my ideal client is not the same way that I would have talked or spoken to my ideal client before. Now, even before, when I was servicing individuals, whether or not it was in exchange for a product or for a service, what I learned or what I saw is that when I exchanged those things, I was really communicating to my target market, right, for exposure. So it was kind of like, I'm throwing this stuff out of here. I'm throwing this stuff out, just hoping that someone will catch, right? But when you're exchanging profit for transformation, you have to be more specific. You have to be more laser focused, because remember, when people are paying you, especially in the coaching industry, they're looking for results. So when you are saying that, hey, I can provide or offer these results in your life, and I can offer this form of transformation, then you have to now speak to this client differently. Remember, we talked about the 3 major characteristics that your ideal client has to have before they even consider hiring a coach, let alone considering hiring a coach at a high ticketed or a high level investment, right? Remember those 3 characteristics that we talked about. And so you have to now make sure that when you are positioning yourself in your messaging, when you are positioning yourself in your storytelling, that you are speaking directly to your ideal client, and that you are not only making it obvious of what you do for people, but there's a specific way that you have to do that. So I wanted to share these 3 different hey Felicia, I wanted to share these 3 different reasons why you need to really take the assignment at the beginning of the video and really sit down and write out what you do for people and determine whether or not your niche is specific enough. Remember, in the industry that we're in, you have to, number 1, you have to be more creative. You got to figure out, how am I going to stand out in the industry? Think about a person that's exchanging profit for service. And when I talk about service, I'm talking about landscaping. I'm talking about hair, the beauty industry. I'm talking about who else provides a service that I can think of off the top of my head. Those are the different areas of service that I'm talking about when we're talking about exchanging profit for service. Remember, although there's still a tangible, there's still something tangible that they're getting for their investment, the way that they market is still different versus a person who's selling product. Right? So if a person is selling a shampoo, a person who's selling a belt or a t-shirt, the way that they market to their clients and the way that someone markets to their client who's exchanging service is not the same thing, right? It's not the same thing. But for a person who's marketing or exchanging profit for transformation, you now have to be intentional on the way that you're talking to your ideal client. So keep in mind, there's 5 different layers of marketing, of niche marketing as a coach. And I'm going to go dive deep into those 5 layers. And I'm going to share you how to position your message in those 5 marketing layers, niche marketing layers, at our upcoming 2020 Shift Conference for coaches. So make sure you guys take advantage of that, because our early bird expires at the end of this month. And if you want to know, not only be aware of where you are in the marketing level, in the marketing layer of niche coaching, where are you? Are you still exposing yourself just as a coach? Like, hey, pick me, pick me. How far are you in detail presenting yourself to your ideal client, right? So number 1, you have to be super creative. You have to be super creative. Number 2, remember, niche marketing is about scaling down your clients and creating a more specific focus. What does that mean? Remember, we talked about value over volume. Right? Value over volume. We talked about the 5/25 rule. I did a marketing research on my social media asking, which one do you prefer? Do you prefer 5 clients at a high price investment, or do you prefer 25 clients at a low cost investment? And so when you are being specific in the problem that you solve, you can now increase your investment because you're increasing the value, you're increasing the exclusive and being exclusive with your client. There's just so many different things that, and so many different doors that open up when you become niche focused, right? And then lastly, number 3, your story and your message matters. So when you decide to niche down, and you decide to really become specific in your niche, and you decide to become specific in the problem that you solve as a coach, you're able to create and you're able to tailor and customize a specific story that speaks to a specific person. Here's something that I want you to not be afraid of. The reason why a lot of us try not to niche down in our marketing, and remember, when you're niching down in your marketing, that goes in your titling, that goes into your power statement. Remember, we talked about those are the 2 major marketing strategies that we use as a coach. And so the reason why you find sometimes people are afraid to niche down is because they're afraid that they're going to cut off their supply or they're going to cut off their exposure to certain people. Well, we want to change that type of mindset because we know that there's a specific or a unique thing about us that is going to attract the person that we need to serve. And so when you're able to become laser specific in the problem that you're solving, it then reflects in your messaging. There's a particular part of your past and a part of your experience that God wants you to use to pull other people to freedom. Right? There's a specific issue. If you've been in domestic violence relationships and you've noticed that this has been a pattern, whether or not it's been verbal or nonverbal, whether or not you've been in a household where your parents were verbal or non-verbally abusive. So you've been around abuse your entire life, right? And so now you're saying, well, I want to be a trauma and relationship coach. Like, you can pick one area and then you'll be able to service those different behaviors. Because remember, when we're talking to our ideal client, not only do we have to address the behaviors, but we have to address the problem. Right? So the behaviors in someone who suffered from abuse in their childhood or in their past or in their relationships, different behaviors can show in the inability to keep a relationship, to be committed in a relationship, to trust in a relationship. Those are the things that are a part of your framework. But the problem that you're called to solve is the trauma, is the traumatic experience, is the fear. Right? So you don't have to label yourselves with all of these different labels thinking that you're going to miss out on the people that you're supposed to serve. If you position yourself as a trauma coach and in your power statement, you talk about how you work with women who suffer from any type of domestic, verbal or nonverbal domestic abuse, you're able to now be specific and clear in what you do. And when I tell you that, it opens up a pool of people who's going to come looking for you to solve their problem. Right? So here was your assignment today. Your assignment was to go ahead and write out all of the things that you do for people. What are all of the things that you offer through your coaching business? What is it that you do for people? And then I want you to determine whether or not your niche is specific enough. If you are realizing that maybe you need to get a little bit more focused, maybe you need to become a little bit more specific, then listen, I've left, there's a link at the top of the caption with my links where you can get connected. Let's jump on the call. Let's figure this out. I have the Shift conference coming up that's going to help you in that area. And then I'm doing another massive shift. I'm doing another massive marketing and message shift. Is going to be a private coaching group where I'm going to help you not only clarify the message, your message in coaching, but I'm going to help you clarify the problem that you solve. And then I'm going to teach you how to speak directly to the ideal client. You may think that your message is niched, but if you're still in a space where you're still trying to capture whoever wants it, understand that when we talk about marketing to your ideal client, you want to get on the call with someone who's willing to not only bring results using your framework, but that they'll make the investment non-negotiable. Right? And so there are different strategies and techniques that we have to first iron through in your coaching business, in your messaging, to make sure that it is clear. When someone sees you, they are supposed to know automatically what problem you solve and how you can help them. If someone has to jump on a call with you or do some further research or try to read between the lines, or if your power statement is full of words and is not being specific, then guess what? You're losing people. But the reason why you're doing that is because you're afraid that, hey, I may miss someone and I can do this for this person. I do all of these things. Listen, I understand you are amazing. That's why you're a coach. But you don't have to tell the person that you do all of these amazing things. You tell them that you do this specific thing. And then once you get them on your calendar, then you can introduce them to all of the wonderful, amazing things that you do. Ask the coaches in my community. Listen, when they signed up with me, they were like, yes, I'm getting ready to become certified in my niche. I'm so excited. I'm going to, grow my revenue and increase my results. They're super excited. And then they jump into my coaching program and jump into the community. And they like, whoa, I did not know this would entail all of this. Absolutely. Because if I sat down and told y'all every single thing that we did in my coaching programs and in my sessions, y'all would be reading for days. Like, LaToya, what's going on? So what did I do? I said, you know what? Let me be specific. I'm going to help you sharpen your message and narrow your niche, right? That's how I'm going to get you, because that's the ultimate goal. Well, in order to get to that goal, guess what? There's several different things that we have to go through. So don't get discouraged. If you are looking for someone to support you and work with you through narrowing your niche, you can comment below. You can jump on my link and schedule a call. You can inbox me. Let's make it happen. There are people who are literally waiting. I'm talking about we're doing a niche marketing madness in my coaching community. And so I have them doing different marketing techniques to their audience. And so there's one of them where they have to really kind of increase engagement. And so one of their, someone put on their post like, oh my gosh, where have you been? I need you in my life. And so once she was able to see how specific she was becoming in her marketing and how she was talking directly to her ideal client, she was like, oh my God, now people are saying, I need you, right? They're like reaching out like, hey, I need you. And so that's how clear it has to be in your messaging and in your market. But if you're not willing to niche down, if you're not willing to become specific, then you'll find that hard to do. So listen, I'm done. Thank you so much for rocking out with me for my afternoon strategy session. Make sure you introduce yourself in the comments. Tell me who you are. Tell me what you do. Tell me what type of coach you are. And make sure you tag another coach. I guarantee that this is some information that they could use in their coaching business. I love you guys. Have a fantastic day and be blessed.